What is up, nerds, geeks, and gamers? It's Rage, and today I'm going to be making some tater tot casserole breakfast dish. I'm not exactly sure what to call this dinner, this meal, but I promise you it's delicious. It's something I once had at a music festival, and I've made it once before, and it's absolutely delicious and super, super simple to make. So, for the ingredients, you're gonna obviously need tater tots. Um, you're gonna want to get yourself some sausage, preferably pork sausage. I've never made it with any other type, and I don't know how good it would taste if you substituted it for a different type of sausage. But this is what I use. I just use original flavoring. Up to you if you prefer a different type of sausage. But we're going to be using this to make sausage gravy, which is going to go on top of our tater tots and stuff. So, yeah. Um, like I said, up to you if you know how to make sausage gravy and you prefer a different type, go ahead and use it. Salt and pepper. You're also going to need flour, eggs, milk, and cheese. Heck yeah, man. So I already have the oven preheating to the temperature of my tater tots. Um, I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna make a full bag or half a bag. It depends on how big my pan is, because I'm definitely gonna be eating this stuff for lunch tomorrow and probably for dinner again, and maybe even for breakfast. But the longest part of this is waiting for your tater tots to be ready. By the time they're done, you should be good to go with everything else that you need. Um, I also forget if I mentioned it, but we also have eggs. So yeah, the first thing you're gonna do, preheat your oven so you can get your tater tots ready, and then after that, let's go ahead and get started on making our sausage gravy. So I'm going to take the whole roll of sausage and I'm going to go ahead and open it up and start cooking it in a skillet. And you want to cook it till it gets brown. I went ahead and put the full log of sausage on there. You don't need to add any butter or anything like that. It's sausage. The grease from it will help with cooking it and prevent it from sticking. So you want to go ahead and turn on your heat. I'm going to put it on medium-ish and just let it start sizzling up. When you start to hear it cooking, that's when you know you're good to start breaking up, because you want the sausage to be in really small parts so it mixes with the gravy really well. You don't want like lots of huge chunks or really any huge chunks whatsoever. And after you're done getting your sausage started, you can go ahead and pop in your tater tots and set a timer. I'm going to be making a full bag. So for me, the time with the Oreo Ida crispy tater tots is 28 to 32 minutes, which isn't that bad. I'm gonna go ahead and put a lid on the sausage so that way it doesn't start splattering everywhere. And yeah, after that, we kind of just have to wait a little bit for the sausage to get done before we can start making our sausage gravy. And also, no point in cooking the eggs right now because they're done. They're going to be done super fast, and you don't want them to get cold. You want everything to be nice and warm together. So yeah, I'll be back when it is time to start making the sausage gravy. Look forward to that. So it's been about 14 or so minutes since we started, and our sausage is now nice and browned. There's no, raw bits in here. I also tried to make sure it was all as uniform in terms of size as possible. To do that, I just took a spatula like this and pressed down like this. It seemed to really do the job. So now we go ahead and add our flour and milk. So the first thing I want to say is, depending on how thick you like your sausage gravy, do not add more flour than I tell you to. You simply let the milk cook itself out. Because I've made the mistake of adding more flour than I needed, and it turned into a real big mess. It got super thick really quickly, and I ended up having to scrap it and remake it. And I want to save you guys the hassle. So, what you're gonna do is get 1/4 a cup of flour. 1/4 a cup of flour. Good enough for me. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how careful you guys are with your measuring and stuff like that, but you're gonna go ahead and pour it over your sausage, making sure to get all the flour that you can out. And then you're gonna go ahead and stir that in until it disappears. And then after it disappears, you can go ahead and add your milk. Um, you shouldn't have to worry about grease. You can have a little bit of grease in here. It won't do any harm, and it'll actually make your gravy uh taste better. But if there's too much, like you notice there's like a super big pool of grease, um, I would recommend draining it since it could interfere with your flour and milk combining into the gravy. Um, so yeah, I just keep that in mind. Like as you can see with mine, almost all the grease is like evaporated. So not too much to worry about. Well, I don't even know if you'd call it evaporation or not. For all I know, the sausage ends up re-soaking in the grease. But yeah. Now that you don't really see any flour bits left, you can go ahead and add your milk. And you want to add your milk in slowly at a time. We're adding 2.5 cups of milk. And you're gonna want to pour it in slowly. One, so you don't accidentally cool down the mixture too fast, and two, because it'll help the milk and flour combined more evenly. So I'm gonna get 1 cup of milk, and I'm going to very slowly add it to the mixture. Very slowly, since I don't want to overwhelm it and cause any issues with the gravy. And like I said, if you guys like a thicker gravy, you can always end up letting the milk cook and evaporate more. So yeah, you're just gonna do this until you add your 2.5 cups of milk, and I will get back to you after I have done that. I added all of the milk, and this is what it looks like. I know it looks pretty soupy, but give it just 5 minutes and it'll really start to thicken up. Um, Obviously, depending on how thick you want it, you can always turn off the heat early if you want it to be super soupy. But I definitely recommend letting it thicken up. I like mine super thick, so I'm gonna let it cook even longer. But I want to show you guys what it'll look like when it does, in fact, start to thicken up. I wasn't lying. Look, it's literally only been 5 minutes, and look how much thicker it already has gotten. This is why I said you shouldn't add more flour, and you should just let the milk evaporate. Um, it's up to you whether or not you want it to be this thick. You might want it a little thinner. You might want it thicker. I personally would like it to get a little thicker myself, so I'm gonna let it keep cooking. And then once that is done, I'm gonna turn off the heat and add the salt and pepper. And I'm gonna keep tasting it until it tastes good to me. Obviously, everyone is different, and you might even want to use different seasonings and salt and pepper. It's really up to your personal taste, but I promise you, this is gonna be a fantastic meal, and I am looking forward to this. The tater tots are done, and I took the liberty of already seasoning my sausage gravy a little bit. I had some I don't really know, fresh cracked black pepper and salt, and it tastes delicious. So all that's left to do before you actually put together your meal is cook your freaking eggs. And, like I said, I am going to be doing scrambled eggs. It's super easy and super yummy in my opinion. So I'm gonna use Pam spray for my pan so that way the eggs don't stick. You can always use a little bit of butter, um, whatever you prefer for making your pan not sticky. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the heat and then drop in. I think I'm probably gonna do 3 or 4 eggs, and then I'm gonna go ahead and scramble them up. Um, so I don't think I need to show you guys that. I'll just show you when I'm done cooking my eggs and putting it together, and then we're gonna taste test it because this stuff's gonna be delicious. You know, I know. So yeah, I will see you guys in probably like 4 minutes. I don't think it's gonna take that long to scramble these eggs. The eggs are done a cooking and they're nice and scrambled. So you're ready to prepare your meal. Go ahead and take a plate or a bowl and get your tater tots. And then you're gonna sprinkle cheese on it. And then you're gonna put your sausage gravy and then your eggs. And you're gonna have a succulent meal that is filling and tasty and was super freaking simple to make. Um, like I said, you can do this for breakfast if you want to. I don't know how many of you guys really have a lot of time before having to go to work or school or whatever. But if you do have the time, why not treat yourself sometimes, right? You can also, obviously make it for lunch or dinner. This is a 3 meal a day kind of food for me. I am definitely going to be eating this tomorrow, probably for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to be honest with you. So yeah, let me go ahead and make my plate and we're gonna taste test it. All right. So we have our finished plate, baby. I am excited to be eating this. So let's go ahead and dig in and see what we think. Um, First bite, I gotta make sure I get everything on there. Let's. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, that's absolutely delicious. I don't know about you guys, but I am very satisfied with this. Please let me know if you make this down in the comments below and let me know what you thought. I'd really appreciate knowing if you did anything differently than me, and if so, if you think it made it taste better or worse. But yeah, this is an absolutely banging meal, and I am definitely this is definitely one of those recipes that is gonna be with me for probably the rest of my life because it's so simple and tasty and just filling. This was really good. I'm really happy I made it tonight, and I hope you guys are going to be happy if you make it too. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.